Okay, so this is Power BI. So what we want to do is we want to get data from our source. But before we do that, let's explore the source in its actual habitat. So we go over to Azure. This is the Azure portal. You can have a look at all my resources on the side. And what we want at our source is our data lake store. So our data lake store is effectively a file system based upon the web HDFS technology. So let's explore the data. So we have here the root contents. So everything that's in lowercase is a system folder, and everything in uppercase is a user-generated folder. So we have raw, where data is landed as raw formats. It's then cleaned into base, starting the transformation into its target schema in enriched, and in curated is our final destination, its end schema. So within curated we have a warehouse folder and a subfolder called fact. And we have two files here. We have our sample taxi trip and our taxi trip. So sample taxi trip is just an example reduced row set from taxi trip, because trying to load in 204 gigabytes is going to take a pretty long time. So if you go back to Power BI itself, we have here this tab called Get Data. So if we get data, it comes up with a list of common sources, but we can also explore them as well. It's going to come up with another window. So it comes up with an entire list of sources. And it's also categorized by the actual categories themselves. So you have files, so local files and folders, relational databases, Power BI itself, various Azure sources, online services, such as Google Analytics, and others. And then we have others which we can connect to, including things like Amazon Web Services. So our source is in Azure. And it's this Azure Data Lake Store. I'm going to connect to that. So this needs a URL. So the URL we can get from the Data Lake Store itself. So we go back to the root, we can go folder properties, and it comes up with this path. So we copy that and paste it in. We should now be able to connect. So it's now connected to our source, and what it's done is it's brought back a preview of the root folder, but the root folder itself isn't particularly useful, so we're going to edit our query using Power Query. So it's going to bring up another window. So this is Power Query. So we can use the UI to navigate to our source. So as mentioned, we've got our curated folder, so we can navigate through the curated table in this case, through the warehouse, through the fact, Then we can load our binary file. So we've got our two files here, and this is the one that we want. So if we then load this in, again it brings up a preview, but from here we can then promote headers, promote the first row as headers, and we can now also perform changing data types, so changing a string to an integer. Maybe you want to do a date to a string to a date time, a string to a decimal. So we can do all that as part of the cleaning and transformation process. So now if we apply all those changes, all those steps that we've done along the left hand side, this will now load the data properly into our model. So it's creating a connection, and now it's bringing back that data through, putting it through over public internet and dragging it down into our local workspace. So now we can see along the side that we've loaded in our data into our model. And that is how we acquire data.